The Treater by Cody Zellers. The doorbell shocked Riley. If the electric buzzer had been thrown into the bathtub with him, it wouldn't have shocked him less. He jumped up. He didn't dry off, just punched his arms down the sleeves of a bathrobe. He squelched down the carpeted stairs, muttering, "Who the hell's in at this hours?" He gathered the robe close under his chin, pushed back the little white curtain that covered the window of the front door, just a slit to see. It was only a kid, a little kid in a Halloween costume. Geez, it's Halloween. I forgot all about it, Riley thought, breathing out a deep sigh of relief. He swung the door open. The kid looked way too young to be out this late by himself. Judging by the height, that is. Riley couldn't see the face. He strained to find a parental car idling in the darkness. There was none he could see. Inside, to the left of the door, there was a short orange bucket, a cheap plastic thing molded to look like a jack-o'-lantern. He grabbed a handful of assorted candies and held out the crackling cellophane-wrapped confections to the kid. Riley was not impressed by the tyke's costume. It was a tattered, hooded black robe. The hood was up over the kid's head. He didn't even have a nice fancy bag. It was just a black sack he stiffly held out and opened with both hands. There was something damn defiant about the attitude. Riley teased him with the sweets, waiting for him to say trick or treat. Nothing. Not a sound. Riley sarcastically said it for him, then dropped the candy into the bag. He slammed the door close on the brat. For free candy, the least the little snot-nosed beggar could do was say trick or treat. Riley spun around and hurried up the stairs, taking them two at a time. He wanted to finish cleaning up. He had just set foot on the second floor when the doorbell rang again. What the hell? More freeloaders, Riley thought, as he tightened the belt of the terry cloth robe and turned around. The front door was at the bottom of the stairs, and he could see a silhouette, a rounded human shadow thrown onto the thin curtain by the porch light. He considered ignoring him, but they had probably already seen him, and he didn't want the house to get egged or toilet papered. He trudged down the steps, wondering what kind of liberal bohemian town this was that let kids celebrate Halloween at nearly midnight. He opened the front door. Standing there was what must have been the kid's big brother in the same ratty costume, holding out a bigger black sack. Pathetic. It's pathetic, Riley thought. It's like that old hillbilly joke where they only own a single pair of pants, so only one of them can leave the house at a time. He couldn't see the teenager's face. It was shadowed under the hood, but he was sure there was a gap-toothed yokel in there. Riley didn't wait for a trick-or-treat this time. He picked the plastic treat bucket up by its skinny handle and dropped the whole thing into the nuisance's bag. He pointed a stern finger at, almost into, the hood and told the punk that was all of it, no more, then pivoted and slammed the door while threatening to call the cops, something he would never do. It wasn't until he was halfway up the stairs that it struck him odd that he hadn't heard the bucket hit the bottom of the sack. It was as if the heavy container had fallen right through. He shrugged it off. Riley headed back to the bathroom. He would have to add some hot water to the bath now, with all these interruptions. It would make the water less pink, but nothing beats a hot bath after a busy day. The doorbell rang. Riley growled with rage, clenched his teeth, and spun around on his heels. He ran to the front door and banged it open. This was intolerable. His anger drained with the blood in his face. The ebony-robed figure was huge now, at least 7 feet tall. He filled the little porch like a living tent. If this was the other two's father, the man was a brute of a bruiser. His bulging muscles even made parts of the robe cling to him. Then it dawned on Riley what was really going on. This must be the local scam. Annoy, then intimidate people until they fork over something more valuable than candy. He looked up into the black maw of the hood. He still couldn't see a face. He shouted at the void. He let them know that he was onto their game. It was blackmail, extortion. He wouldn't forget this. Riley looked down into the sack to see what other loot the goon had collected. The sack was bigger now, the size of a leaf bag, but so dark inside, like a mine shaft lined with black velvet. He tore himself away from the attractive sight of it. Riley left the door open. He went upstairs to get something that would appease the greedy intruder. He bounded up the stairs and raced to the bedroom. He was in such a hurry that he almost tripped over the body of the woman whose house he was in, the woman he had murdered. Riley rifled through her bureau. He found a small wooden box inside it. There was a roll of cash, a few gold rings, and a pearl necklace. Perfect, he thought, and he left the room. In the hall, he passed the bathroom and felt a brief moment of wonder at the scene inside. Why is it that white porcelain and blood go so well together? Then it was back to the matter at hand. He charged down the stairs to the front door, threw the box in the bag, then slammed the door. He put his back against it and folded his arms. That ought to do it, he thought, but he still felt like barricading the entrance with his body. The doorbell rang before the china had stopped rattling in the china closet. What? That does it, Riley thought. It was time to silence the ringer. He might even keep the cursed button-pushing finger as a souvenir. He ran up to the bedroom and grabbed the sticky axe from off of the floor. The bell was chiming louder and louder. It sounded like a clock striking midnight. When he got to the bedroom door, it stopped. He paused for a deep breath. There was the sound of rushing wind in the house. He felt the weight of the axe in his hands. He squeezed the long wooden handle. The door must be open. There was a cool breeze. His skin tingled and goosebumps rose. He slowly walked to the top of the stairs. Only its arm could fit through now. Its giant red arm, the muscles squeezed against the frame, popping the moldings off. The enormous hand held the bag. It had to be 6 feet from thumb to pinky. The fingers were as thick as lampposts, but it was the vast open mouth of the bag at the bottom of the stairs that Riley couldn't tear his eyes from. The cloth had become splotchy, inky flesh. The folds of the oval-shaped opening were peeled back like lips to reveal purplish gums dripping with drool, inlaid with rows of sharp triangular teeth. It was like the open door of a decompressurizing plane, sucking the air from the room. That's when Riley knew. He finally got it. He understood what it wanted, what the visitor had wanted all along, what treat would satisfy it. A voice forged of thunder and scream filled the room. Trick or treat. Riley dropped the axe, ran halfway down the stairs, and dove into the bag. It was a long, cold, windy fall, but there was firelight at the bottom. Happy Halloween.